Hello and welcome back to another weekly What I've Watched. So let me get started. Get the old Letterboxd up so you can see what I have watched. If you want to add me on Letterboxd, my details are on my little YouTube banner. I think it's below in the description also if you want to see what I watch. It's awesome because you can get other people's that's on your list, what they thought of movies you've watched, and you kind of know what people that you share taste with, so what if they liked or if they didn't like, you get an idea. So anyway, I watched Bruised. This is Halle Berry's new movie. It's about a female cage fighter. Which was she a boxer to start with? Anyway, she's a cage fighter. She loses her son for reasons I won't go into. He comes back into her life when he's a bit older. She wants to retrain as a cage fighter, get back out there, start earning money, and this film is about both her attempts to return to the ring, her trying to reconnect with her son who's been through a lot of trauma in his life and who can't speak. He has stopped speaking because he's just completely traumatized generally with his life. And it's about her trying to regain his trust, trying to build some kind of relationship with him, and whether or not she can get back into the ring and be successful. I really enjoyed it. I had heard some pretty bad reports on this, but personally I really liked it. Halle Berry was excellent in it. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. On the 8th, I watched Summit of the Gods. Now this is French. It's based on a manga as far as I'm aware. It is loosely based around the true story about the first people to reach the summit of Everest. And the question asked here is, were they actually the first people to make that summit, or did someone beat them to it? This is a movie about a young reporter trying to get to the bottom of whether or not someone beat the real people that got to Everest. A photojournalist's obsessive quest for truth about the first expedition to Mount Everest leads him to search for an esteemed climber who went missing. It was very good. I gave it a 3 out of 5. The animation was beautiful. Did I absolutely adore it? No. I watched it because it was getting massive rave reviews. I did like it. I didn't love it. I would say watch it if that's your type of thing. If not, I would say no, avoid. On the same day, I watched The Cleanse. Oh yes. This has got... Right, hang on, let me remember his name. I'm just tempted to say Big Bang, but... John Galecki, obviously we all know him from The Big Bang Theory. He stars as a very similar character to the person he plays in Big Bang, and a lot of people are going to this retreat to be cleansed of issues that they have. Okay, let me just read what it says. It may explain it better than I can. We all have our demons. The story of a heartbroken man who attends a spiritual retreat only to discover that the course releases more than everyday toxins and traumatic experiences. This actually makes a physical manifestation of our inner demons, basically. So we've got like little monsters, that's the only way I can put this. It's a bit quirky, it's a bit different, it's worth a watch for a giggle. It's nothing special, it's nothing standout. I probably gave it I gave it a 2 out of 5. I was going to guess 2.5. It's okay, it's a bit quirky and a bit funny, but it's supposed to be dealing with a serious issue. It was alright, it was okay. Same evening I watched Single All the Way. I really, really wanted to like this movie. Right, who was the actor? Philemon Chambers as Nick. I absolutely adored this guy in this movie and I hope he does lots more things, but Michael Urie as Peter just irritated my happiness. I did not like him in this movie. Peter and Nick are just friends. Peter's family know better. Desperate to avoid his family's judgment about his perpetual single status, Peter convinces his best friend Nick to join him for the holidays and pretend that they're now in a relationship. But when Peter's mother sets him up on a blind date with her rather handsome trainer James, the plan goes awry. So it's a movie that starts out and you know where it's going. I think when your tagline is Peter and Nick are just friends but his family know better, I think that tells you where we're going with this. I find the character of Peter, is he Peter? Really irritating, not believable. I did not connect or like the character. But Nick, on the other hand, I loved. I just thought he was adorable. I could see 100% why people would want to be with him. But I couldn't see what Peter was bringing to the table. I'm like, why would you choose to be with this person Who are they? What are they? What are they bringing to the table? Why are you attracted to them? And I couldn't see it with that character. Right, I've had one of those Royal Mail texts that tell me I have to pay $2.99 for a parcel. That's basically, you know, one of those like scam things to get you to pay money for a parcel. Well, that's what that was. There will be another beep. Ignore it. I don't want to take my screen off to open the email. So, yeah, it was really poor. Some of the dialogue was terrible. Some of the acting was terrible. I did love that one actor in this. Other than that, oh no. 1.5. And given that it is a movie about a gay couple, I wanted to love this because we don't have enough movies, you know, than your stereotypical boy girl. I want to see different things. I want to see different representations. Unfortunately, that was not good. On the 9th, I watched Help. Now, I probably should do a movie, or I should do a review about this on its own because this was exceptionally good. This is, I thought it was a series. It's like a short drama piece by, how long is it? 98 minutes, so 1 hour and 38 minutes. Jodie Comer and Stephen Graham. Stephen Graham's a very successful British actor. Everyone will know who Jodie Comer is. She stars as a helper in a old people's home at the start of the COVID outbreak. This is based on a very true story, and it is just seriously mind-blowingly, just your mouth will drop open at this. So, no one's coming. Sarah seems to have found her calling working in a Liverpool care home where she has a special talent for connecting with the residents. Then in March 2020, the coronavirus pandemic hits. This is based on real situations. In the UK, the government, unwittingly is the wrong word because they probably knew just what they were doing, they just didn't care. The government sent a lot of people out of hospitals into old people's homes, older people, and the people that they sent into these old people's homes had COVID. They infected the entire homes, and old people's homes just lost swathes of their residents. All of these old people died because COVID was brought in. This is set in a very realistic setting in Liverpool, in the north of England. She's just got the job in this care home and the pandemic hits, and it shows you what she goes through, what the residents go through. A resident really struggling one evening and she can't get 999, she can't get emergency services, she can't get, it's awful, but it's true. And it's a window into what happened and what people went through. And if you watch this, you're aghast, and there's like a lovely story that runs in the background with her relationship with one of the residents also, who has the starting onset of dementia. He's quite young. It's a fantastic piece of acting, it's not cinema, it was made for TV. I think it's exceptional, and I really think that anybody that hasn't seen it should watch it. I think the only person I've actually heard talk about this, I'm not sure if I'm wrong here, but I'm sure Carl from Carly09 talked about this. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I had this on my list as something I really wanted to see. And when I heard him talk about it very glowingly, I thought, right, I need to get around to this and watch it. And I did, and it's amazing. I gave that a 4 out of 5. Okay. On the 10th, I watched The Unforgivable, which is the new film with Sandra Bullock starring as someone released from prison. She sets out to find her only surviving family member, which is a sister. She's sort of retracing her steps, going back to the house where she last remembered they lived. This just covers her struggle at reintegrating back into society. People invariably finding out she has been in prison, why she's in prison. This really makes you think. It really makes you think about how difficult it is. Now, I will be honest, I'm a very hardline person when it comes to criminals. I'm very hardline with it. I just have no toleration for certain things, and people that do certain things. There are certain crimes in my viewpoint, not to make this political, but there are certain crimes to me that are not, you cannot be rehabilitated. I don't feel a paedophile can be rehabilitated. If you're going to do something like that, you can't be fixed. Serial killers, I don't feel they can be rehabilitated. But anyway, let's not get off line. But what I'm trying to say is, someone like me that has a very hardline approach, this really did make me think about how difficult it is for people coming out of prison, trying to integrate themselves back into society and trying to lead a normal, lawful life. It did really open my eyes to that. You know, people that are guilty of maybe lesser crimes, or people that there are reasoning behind crimes. I'm trying to be vague. But yeah, it certainly made me think, and Sandra Bullock was excellent, but I do really like Sandra Bullock anyway. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. I would recommend. It's on Netflix at the moment. On the same evening, and I've been hearing about this for so long, I had to watch it, The Power of the Dog. It's another Oscar contender. Everyone is just ranting and raving about it. This is a Western. Charismatic rancher Phil Burbank inspires fear and awe in those around him. When his brother brings home a new wife and son, Phil torments them until he finds himself exposed to the possibility of love. Now, performances are excellent, cinematography is excellent, the setting's fantastic, costume design, all of that stuff. I can't find fault with any of this. The ending I absolutely adored. I loved where this movie went. I loved how relationships changed. I didn't actually see the end coming, and I loved the ending. But this did not blow me away. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm not a fan of westerns and that type of thing. I did feel that I'm going to have to scroll down for his name because I'm terrible. Benedict Cumberbatch in this is amazing. I do think he deserves an award for his role in this. I found the rest of the cast quite disappointing. As I say, I enjoyed it. I was not blown away by it. So I gave it a 3.5, purely because Benedict Cumberbatch is so good in this, and how it ends is just so satisfying. The following day, we're going from Power of the Dog to Clifford the Big Red Dog. I went to the cinema with my son to see Clifford the Big Red Dog. I will watch anything with a dog in, as long as I know the dog doesn't die. I'm happy. This was a bit naff. Now, I gave it a 2 because I love dogs, and the kids that were in the cinema seemed to really enjoy it. And there was one joke where I did laugh out loud. It was a kids' movie, and there is a vicious sheep that escapes, and someone is head to head with the vicious sheep, and the sheep growls at him, and he goes, "Holy sheep!" I laughed out loud. I did think that was very amusing, because that's just about the level of my humour. But as I say, Isaac really liked it. The other kids around seemed to be enjoying it. I gave it a 2. I thought the CGI, when used, was terrible. Jack Whitehall is in this. He's a British comedian. He was in Jungle Cruise with The Rock. He played the brother of the love interest of The Rock, who I've forgotten who it even was. I do apologise. I liked him in Jungle Cruise. This is awful. Because he has to put on an American accent, and it's one of the worst accents I've ever heard. It is shockingly bad. Why can they not just allow people to speak in their normal accents? It's believable with travel, with airplanes, that anybody can live anywhere in the world they want. You don't need to make them speak with an accent that's not theirs. But some of the lines of dialogue was just... One of them was, "Just because he's big and red doesn't mean..." I can't even remember the end of it. But if you start a sentence with "just because he's big and he's red," no. I gave it a 2 out of 5 because some kids seemed to enjoy it, and I laughed at Holy Sheep. On the same evening, I watched Two, or Dos if you're Spanish. This is a new Spanish movie about two people that wake up stitched together on the abdomen. They're both naked. They don't know one another. They don't know how they got there. The idea sounds fantastic. You sound like you're getting something that's a mix between Gerald's Game and the Human Centipede. You're getting neither. Gerald's Game was really clever. It was really thought-provoking. There were scenes like where she removes the handcuffs that properly make you squirm. And the Human Centipede is obviously for the horror lovers among us. The whole concept of what they do with the three individuals is just barbaric, and you find yourself thinking, what one would you rather be out of what? Well, obviously I'd rather be the one at the front if I had to choose, but you know, you can't help but think when it comes to, maybe it's just my sick mind, you can't help but think, but this has none of that. There's no intrigue, there's no like, oh, there's nothing. There were scenes where the way they were moving, you could tell that they weren't joined. They should have put something on them, even Velcro for God's sake, anything that attached them to a specific area, because for me there were positions they stood in it that made it very clear that they weren't attached and couldn't have been stood in the position they were in, and that completely ruined it for me. I didn't particularly enjoy this one. I gave it a 2.5. I'm not even sure why it got the half out of me. It was okay. The thing about them not connecting properly at the middle really frustrated me. Oh, I think I liked how it ended, but as I was watching it, there was an ending that there was somewhere I thought we were going with a storyline to do with harvesting organs. That's not a spoiler because it's not what happens. But I thought we were going down the harvesting organs route, and I thought, oh, that'd be a good idea. Or I thought maybe when they're separated, something's been removed from one of them that they need to be attached to the other one for them to survive, and when they like disconnect from one another, they'll die because they need to. And nothing happens like that. It's just it just ends. Right, I've just moved my thing. I don't know if that's pointing in the right place or not. I do apologise. Technology, folks, eh? On the same day again, I watched Encounter. This is Rami Malek's new movie. This is sort of like described almost like a sci-fi type movie. A decorated Marine goes on a rescue mission to save his two young sons from an unhuman threat. As their journey takes them in increasingly dangerous directions, the boys will need to leave their childhoods behind. So Riz Ahmed, he takes his two young boys, kidnaps them, and tries to get them away from what he sees as an attack which is imminent on the human race. That's not what this movie is. It's not sci-fi. I can't go into any more detail. There's more going on than in this. Riz Ahmed is fantastic in it, as he is in everything. I find the story very flat and quite dull. I do feel a lot more could have been done with it. Let me see. Austin Burke gave it a 3.5. Who have we got here? David Johnson gave it a 2. Riz and cast shine, but the heavy-handed screenplay keeps this a mostly dull affair. I completely agree with that. And then whoever this is, Joshua Gold gave it a 3. I think it's worth a watch because Riz Ahmed is very good in it, but I do think, like the other person said there, that it is quite dull. Don't like having to say that, but it's true. And lastly, 2 movies. Click and Collect. I give this a 3.5. Some people may not like this as much as I did. I don't think anybody has seen this one. Right, Asim Chowdhury and Stephen Merchant are 2 UK comedians. This is like a British version of Jingle All the Way. It's not as awesome as Jingle All the Way, but the concept is the same. It's Christmas Eve. Stephen Merchant's character goes to buy the must-have toy of the year for his daughter. He goes to pick it up, but they have put £20 onto the price. It's gone up from £45 to £65. And he's, well, why? When I booked this, it was 45. Oh, well, you didn't pay for it at the time, so now it's 65. And he says, to hell with this, and he walks out, not knowing that this is the most wanted present at Christmas. So this is about him trying to get his hands on this toy for Christmas, and about his relationship with his very annoying neighbour who's very festive and very happy. Stephen Merchant is a great big Grinch. I really enjoyed this. It's got fantastic British humour. It's feel good. It's realistic. It is very much how things are here, how we are. But I would recommend. It's on Netflix at the moment. It's a really easy watch. It's only an hour long. I would recommend check it out. It'll make you feel all Christmassy. And finally, I watched Wrath of Man, Jason Statham's movie. This wouldn't normally be my cup of tea, but I have heard so many people say it is excellent. This follows Jason Statham's character, who is working as a security guard for one of those, the cash van companies. But his actions when there is a heist and his cool manner of dealing with things raise suspicion among his bosses as to how he's so good at handling himself, how he kept so calm. Everyone wants him on with them on their vans in case anything happens, but there is more to Jason Statham's character. He is there for a reason, and he is seeking revenge for something that happened in his past. It is a very good action film. The performances are really good all round. There will be a lot of familiar faces you will recognise when you watch this. I can't really point out a poor performance in this. It wouldn't be the normal kind of movie I would watch. I'm not a massive action fan, although I will say, I love movies like Die Hard. I did enjoy this. Old like Van Damme movies I love. If you put one in front of me and make me watch it, generally I'll enjoy it. It's just getting me to put it on in the first place. I know that sounds ridiculous, but This was a good movie, and I wouldn't have chosen to watch it was it not for the positive reviews I was seeing everywhere. So yeah, Wrath of Man. Let me stop my recorder. So that is what I watched this week. Intermingled there is always little bits and pieces of YouTube. And what I do want to say at the end of this is my good friend Alan, Kermits Ghost, has decided to leave YouTube. He has been a fantastic friend to me over the years, and on YouTube, one of my biggest supporters. Always watched my videos, always commented. I even have a small vlogging channel that I mainly use for like a family diary to keep in touch with friends in England where I used to live. And Alan religiously would watch these really long meandering vlogs and comment, and I really feel we got to know each other really well over the years. And he's just a guy I have an awful lot of time for, and I am so sad to see him leave YouTube. And hopefully we'll be able to pester and bother him in other ways. I'll just keep nagging for him to get a Facebook account. But if you're watching this, Alan, much love to you and your family. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. We share, obviously, the same favourite book, A Christmas Carol, so I'm wishing a fantastic Christmas to you and your family. And hopefully we will be able to stay in touch through the years that come. So thank you guys for watching, and I will be back as always next week with another What I Watched. Over and out from Lisa Loves.